As you guys know, Ferrari are a mess. And they've been a mess for a very long time. But it started to dawn on me, ever since Fred Vasseur got his new contract, which I think is utter madness, in my opinion, because I don't think he's done anything worthy to deserve the new deal. And in fact, I thought Christian Horner, once he got released from Red Bull, I thought he would be the man to go to Ferrari and tighten the screws over there, because they need a rocket up their backside. Ferrari are just not a serious team altogether. They're not a serious organization. They've got two of the best drivers on the grid, and yet they are just mid-table mediocrity. I don't see these guys winning races. I don't see these guys in pole positions. I don't see them anywhere. Sometimes on the podium, and it's a little sprinkle of podium business. I mean, Isaac Hadjar's got a podium. Nico Hulkenberg's got a podium. Kimi Antonelli's got a podium, right? So the podiums can be shared out. Carlos Sainz in a Williams has got a podium. It can be shared out. We know this already. But the question I really am now starting to think about is who's under more pressure this season in 25 as well as 2026? Which driver, Lewis Hamilton or Charles Leclerc, who is under more pressure to perform, to do well in Ferrari, to bring success to Ferrari? Because the only way for these two drivers for it to be a success is to win races. Now, you could argue win championships, but there's a part of me that just thinks, when will people believe that this is over? The idea of championships in Ferrari just doesn't seem to exist. It doesn't work. It's not a thing. When will people realize? Because they're not realizing it at this moment in time. But when I look and compare, I want to talk about Charles Leclerc first of all. We'll talk about Lewis Hamilton as well, but let's start things off with Charles Leclerc and the reasons why he's under the most pressure at Ferrari. And the first thing is, this team was built around him. He was the man that they looked at. He was the project. He was the banker. He was the one that they thought, right, once he gets to Ferrari from Alfa Romeo, he is going to be our guy. He's going to be our man. And we saw that early doors when he was side by side with Sebastian Vettel, even now, even with Carlos Sainz, and even now with Lewis Hamilton. There is still that thing of Leclerc is the Ferrari man. This is his team. They've built it around him. So what's the excuse for Charles Leclerc to not deliver? Especially as we got insight, we got glimpses beforehand of how good he is. We saw the potential in Charles Leclerc. We were loving what he was doing in that Ferrari in 2019, for example. It's 2025, people. And I'm still talking about Charles Leclerc's potential? That can't be the case. We can't be still talking about Charles Leclerc's potential. He should be cooking in that Ferrari right now. And here's the thing, he's not. Like, even the Charles Leclerc that we kind of got accustomed to, pole positions, fastest man on the track, we're not getting that enough at this moment in time. And the grace I will give Ferrari in this whole discussion is that the regulations are changing next season, okay? And this is, I think, Ferrari's one last push. Because if they flop the 2026 regulations, forget about it. It's over. It's done. The other thing is as well, that the other reason for why Leclerc's under the most pressure, this was the golden boy. This was the golden child. I know it's similar to what I've just mentioned earlier, because they built the team around him. But this was the golden goose. This was the man that was actually meant to take Ferrari over the line. Ferrari had tried all this time to try and get they had the Sebastian Vettels, they had Kimi Raikkonen for a second spell, they had Fernando Alonso, they had Felipe Massa. They had people in there that they thought, right, we will take either former champions, we will take, serial winners, serial race winners, we're going to try and put them in the car and go for it. And when they took Charles Leclerc in, it was like, okay, forget our past ethos. We're now going to go with the guy who we think has got bags of potential. This is the one. This is the guy who's going to do it. And yet, 2025, 2026, we're still talking about the golden child. We're still talking about him like he's potential. Like he just came from Alfa Romeo last year. Alfa Romeo have changed their name like 3 times since then. So, and they've got different colours, for goodness sake. And by next year, there'll be a different name altogether. And yet Charles Leclerc hasn't been close, really, to winning a championship. I know 2022 was like him and Max were going at it. 23, they were going at it. But really and truly, it wasn't happening. 2022 was just a fly on the wall. It was the early start of the season. We were living it large. Ferrari were getting 1-2s. It was like, whoa, what's going on here? And the truth is as well, by the way, Carlos Sainz getting shipped out of Ferrari for Lewis Hamilton, honestly, Charles Leclerc got away with it. Charles Leclerc got away with it because, again, this whole golden boy, we saw that he was the golden boy against Vettel. We know, we just saw it, right? And it might be justified, I don't know, because Sebastian Vettel just didn't seem to perform anymore. Carlos Sainz went toe-to-toe with this guy. And not much has been said about this. You know, like, Leclerc was meant to be the number one driver, imposing himself. Carlos Sainz gave him a good run for his money. He did. And the fact that he was let go for Lewis Hamilton, let me tell you something right now. Charles Leclerc should breathe a sigh of relief. Because Sainz was growing and growing and growing and growing. And he was building, and it's such a shame because that's probably what's hurt Carlos Sainz the most, is that he knew that he was actually on the cusp of going for that championship, for winning those titles, winning those races. So that's, you know, the lead driver here, right? And we're seeing it even now with Lewis Hamilton there. We're kind of seeing Charles Leclerc still kind of getting, favor's not the right word, but like almost the conversations wouldn't be had if he was a number 2 driver. Let's put it that way. The third thing I would say for Charles Leclerc, time is ticking. I've mentioned all these years that have come and gone. All these title missed opportunities, all these pole position starts and not finishing the races in first place. The time is ticking, Charles. And there's going to be a moment where another young boy, another golden boy is going to come through the ranks. I mean, Kimi Antonelli's Italian, for goodness sake, right? A guy with bags of potential, fast F1 driver. I'm sure Ferrari are itching at one point to get this man in. Kimi named after the fact that of Kimi Raikkonen, who was a Ferrari driver. There is connections that go beyond. He's at Mercedes right now. He's biding his time there. But there will be a day. An Italian driver named after Kimi Raikkonen, a Ferrari champion, their last champion. He will rock up there. So Charles Leclerc, the time is ticking. Time is running out. You've definitely got to get a move on and stop blaming everybody else and get on with it. Because there's a lot of moaning at Ferrari. It doesn't matter who the driver is. There's a lot of moaning, and Charles Leclerc is definitely one of them. So those are the 3 reasons why Charles Leclerc is the one that's under pressure. But let's talk about Lewis Hamilton. Because this is the biggest signing in Formula 1 history. We're not going to get away from this. It's like buying a player in football for £200 million. Like, this is the biggest signing in Formula 1 history. Financially, commercially, globally, media-wise, crossover. This news crosses over to the BBC, to the CNNs of this world, not just your ESPNs, not just your Sky Sports. This goes over pages and pages of newspapers. This is the biggest one ever, and I don't know if we'll ever get anything like it again. 7-time world champion. So there's pressure already there because his Ferrari career will be a question of why is he the biggest signing of all time? Why should we say he is? What has he done to merit this status? What has he done? So he has to deliver. That pressure's already on him, and we can see Hamilton wears his heart on his sleeve. We can see that Hamilton, he really wants to do well. He really kicks himself when he's not doing well. He's the real battle with Hamilton is himself. His mind, his everything. And he will be the first to say. That's one of the reasons why this is why Hamilton's got more pressure than Charles. This is the biggest signing of all time. To the point where, like I was saying earlier about Charles Leclerc, he's the number 1 driver, everything else like that. I'm sorry. When Lewis Hamilton walks into the town, this is a guy who made Carlos Sainz go. Like, this is the status of a driver we are talking about. This is the caliber of a human being we are talking about. We're talking about a driver in Carlos Sainz who was steady at Ferrari, was doing well, won their last races, did well. And they said, we have to stop this. Unfortunately, Carlos, sorry it had to be you. We've got to bring in Sir Lewis Hamilton. We have to. 7-time world champion. We have to bring him in. Second reason, he's 40 years old. He's 40 years old. A bit like the Charles Leclerc situation. The time is ticking for him. Are we going to get this 8th title? Are we going to get this 8th title, Lewis? Everybody wants you to get this 8th title, especially because of the way you lost it to Max Verstappen in 21. I think people would have been absolutely fine with 7 titles, the same way with Schumacher. And it's kind of cool to not have one over the other. Like, it's kind of cool to see, you know, there's a threshold that gets to 7, and you just can't go anymore. The number of completion, you just can't get any further than that. So there's a part of me that's like, yeah, that just looks nice. But the way in which he lost 2021, and you know, it was a Montreal screw job, that 8th title with Max Verstappen. Let's have it right. Nothing to do with Max Verstappen, of course, but just the way that the race was handled in Abu Dhabi. But he's 40 years old, and I think there is a case of your days are numbered in Formula One. Your days are numbered. Whether the age has an effect on how fast you react to things, because these guys drive cars at 800 miles an hour. It's insanity. Only mental people can put their bodies through that. Week in, week out, year in, year out. And he's been doing this since 2007 in Formula One. So we're looking at nearly 20 years of Lewis Hamilton driving in Formula One. Insanity stuff. But the clock is ticking. And in order for him to end well, he has to do it now. This is the time to actually put the performances in. This is the time to actually get the race wins in. Get those high podiums. Get those high pole positions. Get those... Can we get that 8th title is the real question. Who knows? Who knows? And here's the thing as well. The third reason. He lost to George Russell in Mercedes. We're not going to skirt over that. We're not going to just pretend like that didn't happen. He lost to George Russell at Mercedes. When it's all said and done, the young kid comes in and absolutely shows Lewis Hamilton up. So Lewis Hamilton has to come and be prepared to fight against this man, battle against this man. He has to be prepared for this. Otherwise, it's going to be wasted in terms of the fight with Charles Leclerc. He has to beat Charles Leclerc because of what happened with George Russell. Now, had he beaten George Russell and lost to Charles Leclerc, probably wouldn't have minded. You would have said the age took its time. You know, he would have probably ridden off into the sunset. A little bit like what Fernando Alonso is doing now. Nobody's really saying anything about him. But he lost to George Russell, which was in a Mercedes team that was Lewis Hamilton's. And yeah, listen, let's have it right. There were moments where I felt like George Russell was getting a bit more of the favour. Sure. But this is the reality. And Ferrari still took you under their wing as the king. So you have to beat Charles Leclerc. You have to do it. And these are the reasons why he's under pressure. No doubt about it. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. Because overall, when I think about it, if I was to make a decision on this, it depends what lens you see things from. It depends on your perspective. If your perspective is about legacy and is about, you know, how to, you know, if it's about legacy, I think you're looking at Hamilton thinking, look, let it not end bad. He's put everything on the table. He's put it all on the line. He's won anything and everything you can think of. He's got the most race wins. He's got the most pole positions. He is the king of Formula One, right? And I'd say alongside Michael Schumacher. But if he ends bad, how does the legacy look? You know what I mean? How does the legacy look? The headline, Hamilton has been the man in the headlines for a lot of these years, for all of his career. We don't want the headline to end badly. That's not what we want. So on that perspective, Lewis Hamilton's under more pressure. However, for a career in Formula One, the driver that's most under pressure out of these two is Charles Leclerc, because Hamilton has been there and done it. When we think about it, really, what has Charles Leclerc done? I don't mean this to be rude. I don't mean this to be harsh. What has Charles Leclerc done? Really and truly. You know, Monaco race win under Ferrari. Okay, cool. What else? Has he had a Grand Slam? I don't think he has. You know, this conversion of poles to race wins is smelly at best. And the fact that it was such a big rise and a big excitement of Charles Leclerc. if he does not deliver a champion, and we're talking about one championship here, it's done. Charles Leclerc, for me, is the most under pressure on a Formula One career base. Absolutely. He's the one that's most under pressure, especially as the potential to be Ferrari's savior. Because the drivers that don't do it, look where they go. See if they drive, where they drive, how they drive, in the words of Jose Mourinho. No doubt for me. No doubt for me. It all depends on which lens you look at it. So it all depends on your perspective, really and truly. Which way are you looking at it? For me, I'm looking at it from a Formula One career perspective, and for me, the answer is Charles Leclerc. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section down below. YouTube thinks you'll like this video over here, so make sure you go ahead and click on that. And until next time, lights out.